Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. A Barcelona News Round-Up coming up today, and it is a big one too, because we're going to be discussing two world-class forwards, and we're going to be talking about which one is more likely to end up at Barcelona. Is it Lautaro Martinez, or right now, are we moving towards Timo Werner? It's all coming up in today's video. Let's get to it. And if we do start with the full situation right now surrounding Lautaro Martinez, some big news coming out last night and now developing into today, all surrounding Barcelona's pursuit there of the Argentine striker. Now, it's very important to note, first and foremost, that Lautaro Martinez really wants to join Barcelona. He's very excited to join. He would get a wage increase if he signed for Barcelona. Not only that, though, of course, he'd get to play with Messi. Messi also is excited there about linking up with Lautaro, and he really does want to come. And you will see a number of reports claiming that Barcelona have agreed a deal with Lautaro, that everything there is sorted in the personal agreement, and that's absolutely right. Things are going very smoothly with regard there to the personal terms. But that has never been a problem. That there has never been the issue for Barcelona. The issue right now for Barcelona is not Lautaro. It's not convincing the player. It's convincing his club. It's convincing their Inter, whom he has a contract with, and whom they are very determined not to lose this summer. And that was really illustrated and highlighted in a big way yesterday evening by Inter sporting director Piero Orsilio, who came out and he was damning in Barcelona's approach there for Lautaro Martinez. Inter do not want to let him go. Orsilio came out in that interview for the first time there publicly talking about Lautaro's future, and he said Lautaro Martinez is not for sale. He's an important asset of the club, and let's not forget that he still has a 3-year contract with Inter. Inter are not going to sell their most important players. We intend to keep them and eventually strengthen in the transfer market, and this applies also to Lautaro Martinez. He said many clubs have contacted us about Lautaro. Among these clubs, the most determined one has indeed been Barcelona, of whom we have a very good relationship with. But he said Barcelona know our intentions perfectly well. The only way Lautaro Martinez can leave Inter is if his release clause is met, and his release clause is very demanding. It has both deadlines and commitments that must be kept very precise, and that release clause is the only possibility that exists today to take Lautaro away from Inter. And so as you can see there, Inter seem very determined to keep Lautaro at all costs. They're saying right now, look, you can put in whatever offer you like, they can put on the table a number of players, you can put cash out there, but we want to keep our best and most influential players, and that applies to Lautaro Martinez in a big way. Inter are saying the release clause will have to be met. They're not moving on that stance. They've said that since the very beginning, to be fair to them. And as we know, that release clause for Lautaro Martinez stands at 111 million euros, which in today's money, that is massive. But not only do Inter there want to keep Lautaro, and not only is 111 million euros absolutely huge money in today's market, let alone before. It was big before. Now it's even bigger given everything that has gone on over the past few months. But I also want to focus there on the particular words that Orsilio used surrounding that release clause. He said there it's very demanding. And I think there we need to take a closer look at that, because on the face of it, you look at it with a release clause and you do think that's a pretty straightforward operation. You think there you've got to agree with the player, personal terms, pay the clause, the player is yours. It sounds straightforward, but believe me, it is not. And we found that out last summer as well with Antoine Griezmann from Atletico. Because let's hear talk about that 111 million euros. Not only is it very expensive, but it's also only active between July the 1st to July the 15th. That there is a very small window that Barcelona have to operate in, and a very small window to get the deal done. But it's even more difficult than that, because that 111 million euros must be paid in full and must be paid all up front. No installments, no variables, no add-ons. 111 million there in full, given to Inter on the day, and not a euro less. And that's really important, because right now that's a huge ask of Barcelona, not only to pay that 111 million, but to pay it in full. All that money that, quite frankly, we do not have. Because you think back to last summer, that was before all of the financial implications that we've gone through over the past few months, the loss of revenue that the club has had. You think back to signing Griezmann, 120 million euros from Atletico Madrid. We couldn't do it. We were going on for weeks and weeks and weeks trying to negotiate with Atletico, trying to bring that price down, trying to again put players in exchange. But they were exactly the same as Inter. They were saying, no, we don't want to deal with any of that. If you want Griezmann, you pay the clause. And in the end, we had to take out a 35 million euro loan to actually finance that deal because we needed all of that money up front and we simply didn't have it. And it just shows right now, that's what you're up against to sign Lautaro. That's what you'll need to go through to actually pay that sort of money. And I honestly think right now, it's so difficult to do. And I think, to be honest, yesterday, Sky Italia highlighted our negotiation problems in full and really did bring it to light exactly how much Barcelona have been struggling, because they actually came out and said, for 3 months now, 3 entire months, Barcelona have been negotiating with Inter without any success whatsoever. And you can see there in the interview there with Inter's sporting director, he says, Barcelona have come forward, they have spoken with us, they have been in contact about Lautaro, and we have a good relationship with them, but they know our stance. And for 3 months now, it seems like Barcelona have been against the wall, getting nowhere with Lautaro, and this is a problem that I'm not sure we're going to overcome. Which naturally, when you look there at that fee, when you look at the struggles that we are going through, and you look at the time frame now that we're having to work in, I think it's only normal that already, if we weren't already, many of us are looking around thinking, okay, what's the alternative? You're looking at Lautaro, of course we know that he's a very, very good player, I rate him so highly, but you cannot deny that is a huge amount of money, and we should be looking now to say, look, are there alternatives out there that are financially more viable for Barcelona right now? And of course, that leads us on straight away to Timo Werner. If you want now to go and get a striker, if you want to bring somebody in this summer and you can't bring Lautaro in, is Timo Werner an option for Barcelona? Would he fit? And is he attainable? Well, first of all, I don't think Werner is exactly the kind of player that Lautaro Martinez is. I think they are comparable, but I don't believe they are the same. I think Werner is a different kind of striker in some ways. But look, they're both massively talented. They are both players who can come in at Barcelona and for sure have a huge impact. They're a similar age there, Werner, a little bit older than Lautaro. He's 24 years old. Lautaro is 22. But ultimately, you can't deny it. He is so much cheaper than Lautaro is. Because Timo Werner's release clause at RB Leipzig has been very well documented. This summer, his release clause will stand at 60 million euros. And actually, as the years go on, that release clause of Werner will actually get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So believe me, he is going to leave Leipzig. At some point, he is going to move on. Will Barcelona move for him this summer? But again, much like with Lautaro, there is a window that you have to act in. There is a window there of opportunity. That release clause will only be active until June the 15th, which you've got to accept here. That is not far away at all. Just over 2 weeks away there, Werner's release clause will expire and it won't then become active until the next summer. So 60 million is on the market. Barcelona will need to act pretty quickly. Because up until now, despite rumours linking in with Barcelona a few times over the past few weeks, we have all really been expecting him to go to the Premier League. He's been very keen there on joining Liverpool, on working there with Jurgen Klopp, and he's been very public in his desire to do that. However, reports in England yesterday came out and basically said Liverpool this summer still don't want to do big business. Given everything that's gone on, given the current pandemic, given the financial implications that's going to cause, Liverpool still do not want to make big signings, and for that reason, they will not be paying 60 million euros this summer for Timo Werner, and right now, Liverpool, this summer at least, appear to be off the table. And that now could leave the door open for Barcelona. But the question is now, we've heard on several occasions about Timo Werner being the backup option. We've heard about Timo Werner being the number 2 to Lautaro Martinez. If the Lautaro deal fails, then maybe we could go down the Timo Werner route. But the question now is, are we at that stage? Are we now hitting that brick wall with Lautaro? Should we now be looking at Timo Werner? Because with that release clause of Werner's coming to an end, each day that goes by, you're getting closer and closer there to missing out on him. We're talking here about a player who scored a hat-trick, another hat-trick at the weekend for his club, taking his tally there to 24 Bundesliga goals in 28 games this season. He's chipped in as well with assists. He's been good in the Champions League. He's clearly a player there who in front of goal, in terms of his movement, in terms there of his overall game, a very good player. Should we go for him? Is it now the time to move on to Timo Werner? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We've had this discussion before. We have been talking about this comparison, but now it may be the time to alter our focus. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Who would you prefer to sign out of the two? Or would you still go for Lautaro, even at 111 million euros? Or, of course, I'll just put one more option out there. Would you not go for a striker at all? Would you spend that money, like we've also spoke about before, in other areas? Let me know. I will see you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.